chapter clicked in to College Volleyball Weekly on Viral Volley Media. Now here's your host, Rob on mic.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to College Volleyball Weekly Beach, top 15-ish, or was 20, but with me on screen are Kylie Weekly of Texas Beach and Sydney Miller of Hawaii Beach. And I got to correct myself. It's the Beach Bows, not the
Oh, you
Sandbows.
looked it up? Nice.
But no, I had someone contact me directly, if you know what I mean. So,
Oh yeah, I'm surprised my DMs weren't flooding.
so it was an exciting first week of action. And with our very special contributors on screen, I always want to start with what they did first because, especially with this kickoff, they had some big matches and some historic things happen. So let's start with Kylie Wickley of do you call them the Sand Horns or the Beach Horns?
Sandy horns.
Sandy Horns.
Sandy.
Okay. All right, Kylie, tell us what Texas did this last
Well,
weekend.
we had our very first program sweep, which was cool. And we went undefeated on the weekend, which was exciting. Also ran into former head coach Brad Keenan. He's now the head coach of Sam Houston State
Oh,
University. Um, so that was cool. Yeah, it was a fun weekend for us.
well, how did you do, Kylie? Because I know you were in a few of the rotations there.
Me and my partner Ava, we did good. We also went undefeated on the weekend. We moved between threes and fours and got some good chemistry going.
Now, is this weekend was Sam Houston, UTEP, and HCU. So 3-0 weekend for the Sandy Horns. That's correct.
5-0.
5-0. I must be looking at
Come
only
on, get
one
it
day's worth
right.
of. Oh my goodness! I better go to the schedule here. Who are the other two teams? Oh, UCA and McNeese on day one. So
Yeah.
wow, you guys did not drop us. Well, you dropped a point against Houston Christian on the last duel.
Mm.
So good start for the Sandy Horns. Um, any particular athletes you want to shout out on your squad that played well over the weekend? All of them,
Um,
because
I
they're good
all of
teammates.
them. I feel like we had a really high standard all weekend. I think the one game we dropped was the only even set that was dropped all weekend other than the rest. So
But otherwise, a good week for the Sandy Horns. So, with that, I almost am not happy about going to the other side of the screen
Oh.
because Sydney Miller of Hawaii, they hosted what could probably be the trial by fire tournament, is what they need to rename that. But it was the Outrigger Kahanamoku on Queens Beach in Hawaii. Not a bad backdrop to be playing ball in, but talk about your team and talk about the tournament, Sydney.
Okay, yes. So unfortunately, we did go 0-6 in the tournament, but it was an amazing tournament and the skill level was so high. And I honestly feel like this is the closest we've been to all those teams in like a really long time. Like even though it doesn't show up on the board, like all of the games that we were losing were super close or in third setters. So like we are at the farthest in the start of our season that we've ever been. So I'm really am excited for the rest of the season because I really feel like towards the end we could get these duels and like the losses that are like 18-21 can turn into wins like 21-18. But yeah, the teams, they are all amazing as ever. And myself, I played with Alana at the threes for the most of the weekend, and I think we almost went to three in every single game except for two, and we lost all four of them. So we have a little bit of a curse right now, so we have to break our curse. But like I said before, we're right there hand in hand with all the teams, and it was a really fun weekend, lots of good volleyball. So yeah.
Well, Hawaii stays in the top 20 according to the most recent AVCA poll.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to pull it up. Oh no, actually, the new one has not been updated on their site. However, in the True Volley rankings, special shout out to True Volley and collegebeachvb.com, still the top 20 based on the opponents you had. And Texas moved up this week from what it appears, one spot. So
Yeah,
uh,
you.
But it's an exciting weekend, and let's go to matches that caught our eyes during the week. And I always like to start with you guys because I'm a nerd and everything caught my eye. So I'm gonna let you guys pick it, and then I'll start throwing in some stats if I have them. So let's start with you, Sydney.
This is tough, but all of them were very, because they're all such kind of in the top five that all of the matches were super close. But I feel like we talked about earlier TCU and USC's duel, their duel. We were super curious of who was gonna win because like the votes with the 1 and 2 spot. So that one was super curious. And then also I feel like always USC and UCLA is super interesting. And then UCLA ended up losing that one. It came down to the threes and they lost in the third set, I think like 16-14. So that was super interesting because the first day USC, I'm pretty sure they lost both their duels. So then they kind of had to bounce back and they moved their pairs around a little bit. And Ashley Pater and Maya Gessner were able to pull out the dub for USC. So yeah, I don't know. The whole weekend was super interesting. I literally would finish my games and I would like have to force myself to leave because I was
You
so
mean you didn't
interested
want
in
to
all
hang
the
on the
games.
beach all day?
No, I mean it was so hot, but I just wanted to know who was gonna win. I was like, oh my gosh, win.
Well, how about you, Kylie?
I can't pick just one, so I'm gonna pick two. The first one, I'm gonna say Cal versus Long Beach. Long Beach coming out on top. I was not shocked, but I feel like Cal has a lot of really strong talent this year, and so that was an upset.
I was surprised too. I saw that and I was like, what?
Well, it's
So
3-2, and
Mhm.
I think it was over pretty quickly though, because although they played to completion, I think it was done by the third flight because Long Beach won the first three pretty quickly, from what I
um,
can gather on the release.
oh wow.
I don't, if we can get Mary Lou on, she won her. She was the first point for Cal. So um, I'm gonna jump back over. Well, one on Long Beach. Actually, Sydney and I were talking before you came on, Kylie, but Malia Gementera and Taylor Haganaw are playing some phenomenal ball. And have you got to play against them, or what do you know about them, Kylie? And then we'll go back over to you, Sydney.
Um, I have never played against them, but I've seen them play and they just work so well together. Like they won that Laguna tournament in the fall, and I feel like they're a team to be reckoned with. If you go on the True Volley, like they have one of the highest winning percentages out of any of the teams. So it's like a tough team to play. Like they're 80% of the time gonna win. So yeah.
Yep. How about you, Sydney?
Uh, those two, I just can't even start with them. They're just like kind of the same thing as Kylie said. They're just a very well-oiled machine. Like this is their third season playing together. I was kind of joking with my parents. I was like, I saw that they had won their match against Portia and to win the duel, I'm pretty sure it was. And I was like, it's crazy. I wonder how they separate their seasons because like I separate my seasons by like who I've played with. But I'm like, they've always been together. So I'm like, how do they separate like freshman year from like junior year? Like they're doing the same stuff they were doing their freshman year, like winning against everybody. So I think
Yep.
it's, they're both great people and they really work hard. So I think they deserve everything that they earn. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do this year.
Well, it's crazy because Kylie alluded to it, but they won the Laguna Open and they
Yeah,
took down
I
some
saw that.
pro names
Yeah.
along the path, and they didn't even drop a set. And they're like, "Oh, you know what? Let's just serve Malia," thinking that they could get out of it that way. But the girl's got hops, and she's got
Hmm.
one of the most like wristy arm swings. She can move it all over the place, and then she passes dimes, so she can get a great second ball right up in the net for Taylor with an approach and just hammer it. So they're doing some really good things that teams have to adjust to. And that familiarity with each other is definitely apparent because it's like they know what each other's doing without even having to make the signals.
Hmm. Yeah.
So they are, as Kylie was saying, they are number 2 in the True Volley rankings. They're just below the Spanish Olympians of Danny Alvarez and Tanya Moreno. So um, definitely keep an eye on Long Beach State once. They are playing really good ball and have been pretty much their entire career. It's they just needed some help with Long Beach. Unfortunately, it's on your conference, Sydney, because they're a guaranteed point
I
for Long
know.
Beach State at the
Well, you
ones.
know what? Jamie and Alana gave them a run for their money last year. I'm pretty sure they were 2-1 in like matches overall, and Jamie and Alana beat them once. They beat them in the big. Malia and Taylor beat them in the Big West finals, but yeah, I don't know. Jamie and Alana gave them a run for their money.
Oh, without a doubt. Hey, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that happened on day one of your tournament. And I think it lit the internet on fire,
Hmm.
particularly X or Twitter, but the LMU defeating USC 4-1.
The
One,
first time ever.
yes, a first time in program history, and it looked intense. But Kylie, what did you get from what you saw in the results in that LMU, who came in ranked preseason 7, defeating USC, the number 1 seed rank in this year?
I mean, I'd like to say that I was surprised, but I honestly wasn't. I feel like John has been crafting together a team for the past few years, and they have an Olympian in their fives, which is crazy to say the least. And I feel like USC, they're not a team that's gonna peak right now. They're gonna be a team that peaks at the end, and so I feel like they're probably not even that worried about losing that
Yep.
because they always seem to end up peaking at the end, so I think that's kind of what they're more worried about. But LMU, I feel like did such a great job, and their whole team is pretty stacked too.
Well, I'm going to have Sydney answer, but I wanted to throw this out there. They have an international roster, which I'm sure Sydney is pretty familiar with. As Kylie pointed out, they've got an Olympian playing at the fives. That's Juliana Poletti Corrales, who played with Paraguay, who's teamed up with Tannen Rosenthal, who's a hammer from the South Bay. Then they've got Magdalena Rabic and Isabel Reffel. I believe she's Swedish. Reffel is Swedish or Danish or from one of those countries. And at the threes, they've got Abby Thorpe and Lisa Luini, an Italian who's a transfer from FIU. At the twos, Chloe Hooker. Is she English? I can't remember if she's English or from.
She plays at Wave.
She plays a wave. Okay, so
Also,
but she's
Lisa
teamed
is
up.
from the Netherlands.
Who is? I
Lisa
miss Lisa
Louise.
Luini is from the Netherlands. Oh, I guess Strunk thought it was Italian. And then you got Anna Poloya from Italy. And then at the ones, you've got Valma Pretty. I think she's the Swede, correct? Playing with Michelle Schaefer. So that is a solid 1 through 5s for John Mayer's Lions. So Sydney, I know you got to see them firsthand.
It was crazy. The first thing that I was kind of like, what at was that um Tannen was at fives because her sister plays at Hawaii. And I know that she went to Alabama in the fall. And I know she's very good. And she's actually ambidextrous. She can hit with her left and her right. So I'm like watching them warm up and I'm like, there's no way she's at the fives. Like, there's a joke. But like their whole team is so good that like it works for them. And like it doesn't seem like it's even sandbagging because like they're all so good. So it was so interesting to see. And obviously their ones are the same as last year. They're amazing. Like literally a ball never touches the sand. I personally also played their threes. They're so good and consistent. Like, yeah, their team is just overall like very calm. I feel like they're very calm and they know how to perform in key moments. And like watching them play against USC like was so crazy because I think well, it was interesting because this duel, USC's lineup was very different from how it ended. Like the lineup got shifted
Yeah.
drastically after this loss. So, I kind of had my head tilt when I saw the lineup at first from USC. I was like, like I don't think I personally would have put people where they were. But I mean, I guess they obviously figured it out towards the end of the tournament. But yeah, no, it was definitely a good duel to watch. And it set the tone for the rest of the tournament because like the first upset and everyone was like, okay, so this is how the whole weekend's gonna go. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely cool to watch.
Well, I'm going to go back to Kylie on this one. I mean, obviously with an international roster, and I think you've got a few internationals on your roster this year. How's it been being able to play different styles of ball with the different countries represented on your roster.
It is so amazing, especially like we have an Estonian, we have two Dutch and a Czech, and they're so different in the way they play, but also similar. And I feel like the calmness that Sydney was talking about, like they are so calm playing, and it's cool to like be able to practice with them every day. And I feel like it's also cool like when you're playing in those tournaments, when you're going and playing in the FIVBs to like have that kind of knowledge against those players, but also like the friendships and all that too.
Right. Hey, I wanted to jump to another match. I was surprised that not surprised at the result, but more the score. TCU comes in ranked number 2 in the preseason, UCLA at 3. UCLA beats them 4-1. Um, I was curious what lineups were working for UCLA, or was it TCU just a little nervous out of the gate? And Sydney, I don't know if you were there to watch it firsthand, but
I think I was there actually. Was that the first day?
yeah, day
Yeah.
one.
UCLA, they're like I don't know so much about their fours and their fives. Actually, that's not true. I do. But I mainly was paying attention to their ones, twos, and threes. Perry and Natalie at twos. Like it feels like that's almost an automatic dub. I don't even know who to serve in that match. Ones is Maggie and then the freshman who's also really good. They won the Alabama tournament, right? I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they've got the fall pairs. That's
Yeah.
Sally Perez.
Yeah, Sally Perez. So they are obviously really consistent. Maggie's used to that spot. Like she played there all last year. And then the threes, they have Ensley and who
Kenzie
else?
Barr.
Yes, Kenzie. Thank you. Who again, Kenzie's been in that moment. She played at the fours last year, I'm pretty sure, a mix of probably the threes and the fours. And Ensley's new in the lineup up higher. She played at the fives last year, but she's actually so cracked. Like, oh my God, I played her and I couldn't even believe the stuff that she was getting up. Like, I like you guys, I can't even just explain it to you. And then the fours, I'm pretty sure was Tessa, and then I'm not sure the defender.
Alexa Fernandez,
Yes, which she's a freshman, right?
freshman from
Yeah.
Texas.
So I don't really know that pair that well. Obviously, Tessa's always a promising player. Don't know the freshman that well. And then fives was a mix. It kind of went in and out, but I think in that match it was Sophie Moore and
A
Harper,
fellow San Diegan, and Harper
right?
Cooper, another
Yeah,
Texan.
Harper. Yeah. So
What's up with the
again,
Texans?
like all those girls, I think are very hungry to be in and ready to play. And not that TCU isn't at all, but I just think that they were so excited to be in the lineup. And a lot of the girls have like one person that's like been very in the moment. And I think that they do a good job of leading. But yeah, I was honestly surprised also that it went 4-1. Like I thought it would have been a little bit closer, but good for UCLA, I guess.
Yep. Anything else to add there, Kylie?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is something like TCU is always so hot, and I feel like sometimes when you have a team with so many international players, like when you're playing in those FIVBs, it's just you and your partner. It's not like you're a whole team of five different pairs, and like every that team camaraderie doesn't necessarily come the same when you have a bunch of Americans who grew up their whole lives on team sports, like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And so I feel like that should be an interesting thing to kind of see throughout the season with teams that have a lot of international players.
Yep. I don't want to make it seem like we're picking on USC, but Stanford also had a big win against USC in more dramatic fashion. 3-2 was the final count there. And we all got the sense that Stanford was trending upward, especially with contributor Kelly Bellardi at the threes. I thought she got the clinching point on that one, but she is humble enough to say, no, that wasn't me. I just finished
Oh,
business. So, but great win. What do you what do you guys think about the Stanford lineup? And they're on the up and up. And let's start with you, Sydney.
I think they have a lot of returning players, and I think that Stanford is kind of always like in the past year or two, I think that they have been kind of very in the running, and people are very surprised every year of how much better they get throughout the season. Like last year at this tournament, I remember they did so many upsets. So like I personally wasn't surprised that they won this duel. I think again, it just goes back to like there's a lot of returners on their team. For example, like Kelly Bellardi on the threes, like I actually watched the match of USC and it went to 3 and they were up 14-11 and USC came all the way back 14-14 and somehow Kelly kept her cool and, you know, kind of pulled her partner through it, Avery Jackson, the freshman. I think she's also from Texas.
Yep.
And, you know, I know Kelly's been in that situation so many times and she pulled her right through with her and they ended up winning, I'm pretty sure 16-14 or 17-15 or something. But like you said, if she didn't get that point, they wouldn't have won the overall duel. So I think just having a lot of players be so experienced in the moment was super beneficial for them in this duel.
And unfortunately, she got the better end in your head-to-head. I had no idea that you were at the threes playing against Kelly in your duel.
Literally, I can't even with her. I literally, when we were like done, I'm like, I hate you. I literally hate you. She would not let any of my short pokies fall. I'm like, just let it hit the sand, please. Yeah, no, but she's an amazing defender. And honestly, her and Avery are a great pair together. They complement each other really well. So they earned the win.
I think they went, I was looking at their results. I think they went 3 in all of their matches. So they
Yeah,
were
I mean,
grinding.
yeah, they looked good. So
All right, Kylie, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, Kelly is again one of those pairs that's like, okay, it's pretty much a lock. Like she wins most of her games. It's going to 3. It's like, okay, she has so much experience going to 3 and like coming out with the win. I feel like she's super trusted that way. And I feel like a lot of their team, even though they're more or less young, they have a lot of experience like in those kind of hard moments going through it. And so I don't know. I feel like they're gonna stay good, I guess.
Yeah, well, they've got Brooke Rockwell, Ruby Sora at the ones, uh, Carlotta Bell, Taylor Wilson at the twos, and you've got Avery and Kelly at the threes, Clara Stowell and Chloe Hoffman at the fours, and Emma Morris and Ashley Vincent at the fives. So another loaded lineup. That's the MPSF this year is going to be a nightmare from duel to duel. So I'm going to change it up, and then we need to touch on one particular team or a pair of teams. Florida State and LMU went head to head this weekend, and Florida State ekes it out 3-2. Really new team, but the big team that's been talked about are Alexis Durish and Audrey Koenig, and I didn't get to see them in the fall, but they it looked like it was a really tight duel there between the two former CCSA teams. But what do we know about Florida State and LSU? And let's start with you, Kylie.
Florida State has got a pretty young team. I think almost half their lineup is freshmen, and then you have Alexis, who's a more experienced player, playing with Audrey, who is an indoor player, but you honestly couldn't tell she is such like she plays beach so well and such at such a high level. Um, but I think those teams have such a big rivalry that was like a crazy game. I mean, all the games were crazy, I guess, this weekend. Like all the rivalries were hit, I guess. But LSU, lots of solid pairs, but again, they're pretty young too. So I feel like the experience of getting these kinds of matches so early on in the season will be good towards the end.
Yeah. All right, Sydney, your take. Florida State, LSU.
I think Kylie pretty much covered it. I think these teams, like, it's kind of the same thing as USC and UCLA. Like, it feels like the same rivalry. So I'm sure it's definitely bitter for LSU in the beginning, but I don't see it being FSU's 3-2 the entire rest of the season. Like, I'm sure it's going to go back and forth. And I think, kind of going off what Kylie said of the team being all freshmen, I'm not surprised, but I'm impressed that freshmen were able to pull off such a close competition, just because I feel like it takes time to be able to perform in such key moments, and it's honestly impressive that they were able to perform and pull out the 3-2.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was a great showing for Florida State as the youngsters, but as I think everyone knows, it's Russell Brock's LSU team that gets coached up and they learn as the season goes on. So the team you saw this first weekend, come East meets West, they're going to be dialed in to go head to head
Yeah.
with a lot of the teams. I think Kylie, you guys see them twice, right? This year?
Yes. But I don't think we play them. We're going to Baton Rouge, but I don't think we're playing them in Baton Rouge. I think we're playing them outside of
Okay,
it. They're in our conference
gotcha.
too, so.
Well, from those matches, some of the names that received awards. First of all, WCC Pair of the Week. I don't think I've seen a fives pair get the pair of the week for the WCC, and that is Juliana Paletti Corrales and Tannen Rosenthal. But they also got the national pair of the week as a fives pair. So they're doing some really good things. Um, jumping over to the rest of the tournament, though, I'm trying to find my notes on their all tournament. There we go. Individual awards. The Aloha Award went to UCLA's Perry Brennan. From what I read, that's the showing the spirit of Aloha while playing at the tournament. I'm sure Barry probably could have got a lot of awards from there, but
Yeah. Yeah.
and then best defender from Stanford, Taylor Wilson. Best blocker, Maddie White of USC. Best attacker, TCU's Haley Hamlet. And then the best pair, shocker, LMU. Been saying their names a lot. Tannen Rosenthal, Juliana Paletti Corrales. So to round out the bunch, and Haley Hamlet, whippy left arm, playing with Lena Camille at the twos. A solid team for TCU. So only one other upset that caught my eye, and I think it was number 16, FAU, defeating number 14, Washington, 3-2. So with that, I wanted to get a sense of who were your top players of the week or tandems of the week. Feel free to name a couple because I know we're running short on time, but let's start with you, Kylie.
Oh gosh. Um, I don't know where to start. Um,
Okay, we'll bounce. I'm going to grab one right away. I'm going to go with Perry Brennan and Natalie Miskowski.
You're stealing mine. Come on.
I mean, I saw some kind parents were Instagram living, so I got to watch a lot of their matches. But Perry is just so solid. I mean, she
Mhm.
is instinctual when it comes to playing defender and shooting balls. But Natalie has always been she's got great skills all around as a blocker and a setter for a big. So really fun watching them paired up together. It's like whoever plays with any of those two are going to be a good team. So it makes sense that they'd be playing together. So
Yeah.
there's my one. That gives you guys some time to think of another.
I have mine, or a
Okay,
couple
go
of
for it.
mine. I'm gonna do Ensley from UCLA. I think she actually just played so amazing this weekend, and I think she's gonna do some very good things for UCLA this year. So Ensley, and then I also think I'm gonna shout out Kelly again. She's so consistent and just puts her head down and knows when to score points and when to go for it. And I think again, big threat. Like Kylie said, she's kind of one of those people that you just know she's gonna win their match when it gets down to this stretch. And
Yep.
then my last two are Malia and Taylor. I just think they're gonna be consistent for the rest of the season. And I would be very shocked if they started on a downhill path, which I don't ever think they will, but yeah.
All right. That's a good selection there. How about you, Kylie?
um, I'm gonna say Kennedy Coakley and Sally because I feel like it is so difficult to be a freshman playing in like the top two positions, and I feel like they handled it so well, and I feel like neither of them play like freshmen. Like if you didn't know that they were a freshman, you wouldn't think that they are, and I feel like that's so impressive, and I'm excited for their futures in college beach volleyball.
Kennedy Coakley is a, well, if you got to think about it, she's actually been traveling the world already playing with Brooke. So it's like college setting's not a big deal. You mean I get to go to Hawaii and play in a tough tournament? Oh, that's going to be real tough. Um, how about this? What duels or tournaments will you be watching for this weekend, this upcoming weeks? I know some are actually starting up. We'll go, Sydney.
I think Cal Poly plays a bunch of teams this weekend. I think am I wrong with
Yep.
saying they play Long Beach?
They battled Los Angeles, and they basically that's Gauntlet Week Part 2, the
Okay,
Battle of
so
LA.
yeah, I'm gonna say that duel. I'm really excited because obviously I'm sure Cal Poly's wanting a little bit of payback from Big West, so I'm very excited to see how that duel ends up going.
And they how I don't know if this is good or bad, but they play Cal Poly plays UCLA at 12 noon on day one of the Battle for
Uh-huh.
LA. Oh, but wait, we're gonna play Long Beach State at 2 o'clock.
Honestly, you know what? I think that they will be grateful that they're playing a good team first because the first game jitters is a thing for sure. So they'll be like really warm for Long Beach at their second match.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
coming from the athletes. See what I know? Absolutely nothing.
Yes,
I'm
you do.
one and
Be
done.
nice to yourself. Yes, you do.
How about you, Kylie?
I'm pretty interested to see Georgia State, Florida State. I feel like Georgia State sometimes is like an underrated team, but they have some solid pairs in their lineup that I feel like it could be interesting what happens with them in FSU. And then also just the whole Battle of LA tournament is gonna be good.
Well, it's interesting. This is the first year we don't have Angel and Bella at Georgia State. So, I mean, they were kind of the real deal,
But the
getting
Ferrari
that.
twins.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a post Angel and Bella Ferrari time for the Cougars. So, um, one of the matches I'm looking forward to, not because I'm going to be there, but Tulane versus Texas. Because
Ooh.
what's this one called this weekend, the tournament? I saw the graphic. I didn't
Longhorn Invitational.
Longhorn Invitational. So it's the first duel, well, in your true first season that you're hosting at what's the name of the complex?
Whitaker,
Yeah.
Mike Whitaker Fields.
Uh, it's really nice. But is it going to be streamed? Because I saw an announcement that
Yes.
all of them are going to be streamed.
Yeah, so we have a TV contract with like the local network. The vision that Stein has is basically to have us become like household names in the Austin area and like just really grow the fan support around us, which is super cool. And then we have Longhorn Network too, which we can't use anymore in the SEC, but we can use for beach volleyball, so works out.
I wonder if that's going to be a paid service. I didn't go in to check it out, but it looks like you just go inside, like just click in. There's no paywall or anything. But I'll have to get back there when our listeners and viewers. I'll go in there and check it out. Um, Long Beach State USC on day 2 of Battle for LA.
Who are you calling, Rob?
See, if I pick someone, I'm not going to be liked. Way too many connections on both sides. I
All right,
want good
fine
volleyball to be
answer.
played.
Fair.
Well, it's going to be interesting because it depends on who USC puts out and at what flight.
Yeah,
Obviously, Leah and Taylor are going to stay at the ones. I don't see them moving. But if they put maybe Kennedy and Ashley, I think they've played against each other and they're pretty familiar with them, but we'll see.
they
Um,
had at the end of the weekend, Maddie White and Zoe Henson were at the ones, and they were pretty successful. They beat Maggie and Sally in two. I'm pretty sure.
wow.
Yeah.
So that would
So
be a great matchup. And
yeah.
watching Sally and Maggie play, and I'm like, how are one of those girls a defender? They don't even
No,
split.
no,
Like,
I don't even.
they're both
It
huge.
was a very close match. Like it went way over 21, but yeah, it was a good match.
Yeah. And then another one, and not because it was a place that you formerly went to, Kylie, Grand Canyon, Arizona State, the battle for Arizona. Because you have the former coach of Grand Canyon now at Arizona State,
Oh wow.
and they got great talent at both schools. I mean, Corinne Garrow has been playing well for the Lopes, and Arizona State with Kendall Whitmarsh, sister of Jaden Whitmarsh, formerly of College Volleyball Weekly, has been doing some good stuff as well. So a lot of great ball this weekend.
Yeah, she
The
played great.
rivalry between GCU and ASU is real, so
Oh, really?
fun.
Oh, give us the inside here. I didn't realize that there
Well,
was. I
I
thought
don't
it was,
know. It's just I feel like they're both two teams in Phoenix, so they gotta fight.
so it's truly a battle of Phoenix. I thought they were because I thought Arizona State was Tempe. I didn't know how close, but they claim Phoenix, huh?
It's like 30 minutes away.
The bad side of the tracks, right? Um, but yeah, there's a lot to be watching. Hawaii, are you idle this week, Sydney?
Yeah, we're off. We got to recover from our 0-6. We're gonna come back strong.
Well, I was wondering, I didn't see Hawaii in my schedule, so
Yeah, no, we're off this weekend, and then next weekend we're hosting again, so it should be exciting.
gonna be a couple weekends in Hawaii. Then you actually come out to California, I believe.
It's time to come
Yep.
out to my stomping grounds.
I would say pump your matches this week, so I have to leave that to Kylie. So, Kylie, what you got going on this weekend?
Yeah,
We have Coastal Carolina, Tulane, SFA, and Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
nice.
And with that, it's gonna be streaming available, and we'll get back to you on if it works, if you can just get behind the paywall or if there is a paywall. So,
Love it.
well, with that, that concludes, I guess, our episode week 1 recap. But it's actually episode 2 because we had the preseason last week. That's Sydney Miller of Hawaii and Kylie Weekly of Texas. Best of luck to only Kylie since Sydney's gonna be slacking off this entire week.
No, I'm
Recovering.
not.
She's going to be going to therapy for the
Yeah,
first.
I am. Lots of therapy, all sorts of therapy, emotional and physical therapy.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, ladies. We will talk next week.